Britt Franklin is a Queens-bred, hard-of-hearing storyteller and filmmaker, crafting narratives that resonate with the echoes of the past yet embrace the boundless possibilities of our future, offering a unique blend of resilience, innovation, and unwavering hope.
This next story questions the superficiality of social media and the effort we put in to grow and sustain the lifelong bonds we have built offline in real life. Let's give it up for Britt.
Hi everyone. Hi. There's one thing I do want to teach you before I start, and it is friend in ASL. This is the first sign that I learned as I was learning sign language, and it's really simple. I feel like we use it when we're talking to people. It's this. Yeah, I know, right? Like we've probably been doing that. That's friend. So remember that when you leave, and then after I read this and as you're talking to people, that friend is universal no matter whether we speak the word or feel it. I see my friends every day now from the comfort of my own home, and I've never missed them more. We've traded laughter for likes. We've swapped hugs for green circles. The awkward silences before a weighted sentence are reduced now to 3 little dots. We don't ask how each other's day went because we've already seen it on our stories. So it takes hours to break the ice when we finally meet for our monthly brunch that has been canceled and rescheduled more times than I can count. Close friends. You're trying to throw me out as I chip away at the conversation, wanting it to flow. It's pretty tepid at first, but then one of us confesses, I miss you. Those 3 words have become more significant to me than I love you. I know my friends love me, but missing me implies that I'm no longer present, that my absence is of great magnitude. What do you miss, Habibi? Because I see you every day. I see you finally cut your hair. I see you learning to play the guitar, so am I. I see you are living your best life in Japan. I see your daughter, she's grown up to look just like her father. You seem happy. Though, if I'm being honest, I don't think I'll be able to tell anymore. Your eye doesn't touch your smile like it used to. I haven't heard you laugh, really laugh so hard you start crying and then you make that weird squeaking sound with your voice. I see. Memories are proof that everything can change in a moment. After we've taken pictures of our plates, the memories start flooding back with each clink of the glass. Then the weed hits, and we're transported back to a time when things weren't perfectly curated 4x4s and 9x16s, back when friendship hit different. It took more work, but look at us, Fusion. Life has taken a toll on how we relate to each other because I'm finding it hard to even connect with myself. But what do they say? Life be lifing. That's what growing up does, right? It changes you. It makes you ask a lot of questions that you don't have the answers to, but when you were younger, you had all the answers. Or so we thought. We knew what kind of jobs we would have, the houses we would live in, and the cars we would drive. We knew we would make it out of the hood even though we were hood adjacent, girls from Queens. We knew we would somehow achieve all of our dreams and then meet up in a foreign country to celebrate them once a year. We knew that if you ever murdered a man, no one would find the body. We knew I would be a bridesmaid at your wedding. And you would tell everyone at mine that there would be a blood sacrifice in the woods. I'm just weird like that. We knew that one of us would become a millionaire, save the world with our art, and be famous. And eventually I would become a hermit and buy a farm, and we swap on the annual rendezvous in foreign countries for summers at the lake house, where we would visit with our partners and make memories for our children. We knew our kids would be best friends. Wild and free, fierce and unruly. We knew we would be powerful. And no matter what life threw our way, we knew that life would still be better with each other in it. And here we are, back in that cafe that we pinned on Instagram. It's closing, and now I see you. I really see you. Your eyes are watery, our stomachs are weak, and our faces hurt from laughing so hard. I miss you too, friend. Thank you.
One more time, we're great. All right, thank you, Brittany, for joining us today for the after the release craft interview. Glenn and I have some questions. You had a very, very, I think, hot topic of a story that you told, extremely relatable story that you told. And, I really can't wait to get into this interview today. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem, I'm excited.
Yes, let's get into it. So, Brittany, first things first, how do you identify creatively? Do you consider yourself a writer, a storyteller, an artist, and why?
Yeah, it's so funny. I recently, as of last year, I started playing around with things, and I said, I'm a creative architect. Because I feel like I wanted to tie into my love of producing, which means the ability to execute throughout every phase. So that is writing, directing, photography, film.
Yes.
I mean, in the industry, they're like, oh, you're a creative producer. But to me, it's more poetic by saying creative architect. So,
Yes. And no, that word architecture, like to construct something, to build it from the ground. Yeah. To bring together all the important pieces. Creative
exactly.
architects.
Exactly. You understand my soul.
Have you ever struggled with claiming one of those titles? And if so, what rooted you in the confidence to claim creative architect? Because, people struggle claiming one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it was photography, but if I'm being really, really vulnerable, it was writing. My mother's a novelist. So I grew up reading her manuscripts and seeing her work a full-time job as a paramedic, but then coming home and cranking out a 400-page book. I was like, I don't know if I want to call myself a writer. She was intense when I came up and I was like, Mom, I want to be a writer like you. She was like, okay, you need to do this, you need to write this, you need to submit this. And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah, it was writing to be fair, which is full circle now.
Absolutely full circle. And I can't imagine what that was like. Actually coming home and your mom you see a writer at work,
It was
right?
insane.
That's different than being like, I want to be something. You saw the verb in action in your
Yeah,
mother.
yeah.
Wow. I'm thinking, I saw the image of her surrounded
Me
by
too.
manuscripts and pages. And I can only imagine things she told you about. You gotta revise, and you should be writing like all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was hard because, like, I saw her getting rejected, like, back then in the 90s,
Mm.
at your paper manuscript to publications, and she was doing HarperCollins, Penguin, all that stuff. But what she was writing about the time that centered Black people, those weren't getting picked up. So it's like the rejection, but then the dedication at night. So it's like the business of it scared me.
Mm, mm.
100%.
Gro- Growing up reading her work, because I guess I was able to. I don't know, we all are able to ingest, I guess, the elders that raised us, their voices, but you were able to read your mother's words.
Yeah.
How were you able to define and develop your own voice in terms of storytelling?
Ooh, I think I'm still doing that. Um, but what I loved about reading in general, but then being a daughter of a writer, was I saw her fearlessness and how she was taking her real life and the pain from life and putting it into the story. It wasn't until I got older and I started rereading her stories that I realized, oh, you've experienced this in your 9 to 5 job, being an emergency responder. And she would come home and she'd be like so happy. And so we talk about this often, but I realized that alchemizing pain through writing is where I really found my strength as a writer, but it took a while to write through pain because it's like hard. But I'm embracing that now because I think the beautiful feelings come from that. The audience feels the relatability when I talk about it in that
Mm.
way.
Yeah. That's amazing. I think that's like a essential part of a story. Being able to process those emotions on the page, and then also if your audience can connect to it and understand it and relate it back to their lives.
Yeah.
What other parts of a story would you say are essential to the anatomy of a good story?
Oof. I like this thing called the red thread. You know, where you have the in an investigation room, you have the investigator. You see it on the movies, and they have like that
Mm.
red thread connecting to
Yes,
like
yes,
who's the killer. You know what I mean? And I feel like in your story, you need that red thread. Like you can write like aimlessly and like, oh, that's a good story, sounds good. But finding that connection, like when you said, that's the anatomy of it, when you can connect the dots, and then
Mm.
it takes the audience on a journey because then at some point they're like, oh, okay,
Yes.
I get it, you know? So I think the red thread is like a huge thing to me that I like to revert to whenever I'm feeling lost in the sauce.
Oh, I love that. The red
me
thread. That's
too,
something I can
me
hold on to. It's really
too.
interesting, especially when you write like nonfiction and you're writing about your life, how you can find that red thread between like experiences that seem like they're not actually connected in your life, but they're
Connected.
all linked. And then you bring that to the page and you take your reader, as you said, on that journey
Exactly.
through those snapshots. That's amazing. You talked about the ability to alchemize pain in your work.
Mm-hmm.
I love that phrasing. Um, what would you say is the function of honesty in your work? Because you need to be very honest to be able to bring that pain to the page, you know?
Absolutely.
I have to like dance it up 'cause I'm just like, whoa. Honesty. Ooh, I don't even know, and this is kind of like bouncing the question back, but I don't even know if we know when we're being honest as we're writing. I think while we're writing, well, in my case, as I'm writing, I'm like, this is what I want to say. But is it 100% true on how I felt in that moment? That's painful. And so then as I'm rereading and rewriting, I'm like, let me take myself back to that situation. And honestly, it hurt. Or honestly, what is that like that gritty feeling that I felt that I'm embarrassed or ashamed of? And so I find that when I ask myself that question, like, how did you really feel? Then
Mm.
my writing starts to really take shape towards that honesty versus how do I want everybody to feel?
Hmm.
Absolutely. I think that there is a difference between truth and honesty when when writing. Like we might not be able, especially if we're going through memories, the truth is a million different things. This is our truth, sure. But
Hmm.
like you said, I think asking yourself how you felt and what you think really happened and why it made you feel that way, that can serve as honest moments in the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. What is your relationship to sharing and releasing your work, Brittany? Are you very comfortable? Have you always been comfortable? Is it something you've had to work yourself up to? What forms of release does your work take?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't always comfortable sharing my personal experiences, but I was always comfortable performing and talking about topics that mattered. And I didn't know that until I was like looking at something when I went to my parents' house in Queens, and my mom had like this laminated magazine poster of me talking about Roy Wilkins and Hitler being racist. And so I was like, oh, I was doing this at 8. I like doing this. But no, I think as I get older, I'm realizing that the process that I need to take really is disconnecting myself from what it is I'm trying to do. Right now, my goal is to just finish, get it out. So I kind of not have this hierarchy in my mind. Like I have this role and responsibility. I feel like when I used to have that pressure to tell the story, it hindered anybody seeing it. So now it's about like making this a workshop of my growth. This personal
Mm.
story is me processing these emotions, also me practicing my skill, putting it out, and then moving on to the next damn thing and not being so precious to it.
Yeah.
So I think that's not internalizing every single thing is kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. You talked
I
about
feel
like
that.
working on your skill. Um, what is your practice now? And you talked when we first started speaking. You said you're an architect. You have lots of different ways that you express
Yeah.
yourself.
Mm.
Um, what does it look like? What do you reach for? When are you doing photography? Are you practicing all these things daily, or are you zeroing in on one of your ways of storytelling more than another at any given time?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, right now my practice is leaning more into film and my love of visual. So, coming out of being, full time producer, I realized that first I have to, and it's going to sound so scientific, but architect, I have to map out a blueprint, which is my schedule of when I want this thing to be out in the world. And I work backwards from there. Sometimes it's not always writing the thoughts, it's just like putting a mood board together of images, of feelings. They represent emotions from lighting. And I have my Pinterest board and I'm motivated by those emotions. And then I'm looking at the topic at hand and how's the world relating to this topic. So in this case of friendship, the prompt itself was something I was already thinking about a lot. We were also going to like Valentine's Day, so love month. And I was already feeling the feelings of missing my friends, but I just didn't know how to showcase that. And I realized that I was liking Instagram posts of aesthetic friendship photos and black girl vibes and coffee shops. And I was like, oh my God, visually, I'm already telling my subconscious that I'm missing these environments. And then from there, I went through to my story. So it's like mapping it out. I knew I had a deadline for this submission, working backwards, taking my mood boards, and then drafting a story that way. And from there, honestly, the story is now developing into like a short mini film. But I think it
Oh
was always going to
yes,
be that. It was
Beautiful.
just the process of it.
yeah, that's awesome. Gotta sometimes those deadlines they kick us into
Whew,
gear. They can be
they do.
critical.
A-
Yeah.
And it's great that you have, I mean, a lot of the work informs the other work. So you have this piece that you're writing that you can now, you know, uh, like you can translate it visually
Yeah, give it
and
another
whatever.
life.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
which is
art anyway. Like it's supposed to take form sometimes, and I
Hmm.
realized that when you're an artist, like something may fit written, and then you're like, wait, this is a good photo series, or wait, this is a good video, and you have to let it be what it is because that's what creativity is. So it's like surrendering to that process.
100%.
Yes. Yes.
All right, that's it for our craft questions. Glenn and I have now some individual questions that
Hmm.
we want to know per the story. I'll kick us off with, with
Okay.
with my question first. There are close friends is the title of your story, Brittany, and I find myself really thinking and understanding on a visceral level that there's so many mediums of distraction. Um, just from relationships that we should be nurturing with time and attention and even a phone call, a voice note, those things become exactly what you said in the story. Like they become a happy birthday via DMs. Have you ever found yourself being the friend, and I know you just touched on this, the friend that is only reaching out or engaging with somebody online? And how did you, if you did, translate that back to real life?
Ooh, I don't think I have. And I think this is because I'm usually the friend that kind of like isolates and I'm communicating with people like, oh, I'm offline for the next 2 weeks. Please don't take it personal.
Mm,
Um, but I do think, wait, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe we have like these moments in friendships where you hit the lull where you kick into the outreach person, and then at some seasons they kick into the outreach person. So I feel like my friendships have had those moments, but it's not a specific person where I was consistently reaching out to. Um, but yeah, in one of my long term friendships, I even now like the story was inspired by my best friend who's in Saudi Arabia, and she had a kid, has a daughter, a beautiful daughter. And I found myself reaching out more this time around because I knew that she probably needed it more. And I just looked back at the times when we were in close proximity. She reached out to me, she invited me places, she checked in on me, and I was just like so inundated with whatever was going on in my life. So I was like, now it's my turn. But it's conditional and it's based on a person. So I knew for her, I would do that. I would go the extra mile. And I wouldn't necessarily be mad about it because I know she's more appreciative of it than I know. I can't see, but I just feel like I know she wants this. But never where it's kind of like unrequited in a sense. So
Hmm.
I think
mm,
navigating that really is based on knowing who and why you're doing it for. And then that feeling feels like this is worth it.
Yeah.
no,
I think you're getting at that
that's
like
very fair.
push and pull of relationships, right? Like sometimes somebody has to pick up a bit more slack and knowing that it's not personal, that like life is lifing, you know,
Life is life.
because it be lifing. Um, my question for you, Brittany, is because you talk a lot about social media in this piece, and you know, social media is the highlight reel. Like everybody's showing the best of the best. When you think about the ways that you're able to relate to people in your life, um, what do you look? How do you find like honesty in your relationships with others? Like truthfulness, and you know, a lot of people want to tell you the best of what's going on in their lives. But how
Yep.
do you continue to keep it real with your friends?
I love these so that I keep it real because I'm known as a straight shooter. Uh, I'm like, really, girl?
Right, right. Like, do you ask that question like, "Well, how are you really?" You know?
Like,
Right.
really? Are you
You really
sure?
about to post that? Right.
But I think what it is like without like gaslighting a person, because I know people can feel like that now. But it's more of like asking the right questions. So on social media, it's like when we're saying open ended, like, how are you? How's your day? Da 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 da. I'm realizing like that's gonna give me topical surface
Mhm.
answers. But then when I started asking my friends questions, like, and this is a big one. They say like, "Well, what kept you up last night?" Or if they say, "I didn't sleep
Mm.
well," I was like, well, "What kept you up?" Or, um, like just asking questions that will make them think a little bit more. And especially if I'm with them in person, I can read their body language. It wasn't until like I started losing my hearing at 14. And I talked a little bit about that like at the end, which is why I had everybody sign the word friend, because nonverbal communication is way more powerful than verbal and even visual, the mediums of social media. And I think social media has a good way of kind of like strategizing what that visual means and not being honest in that sense because you're curating those emotions. But when you ask those questions to your friends, like, well, why did you decide to do this? What made you want to go to that bar? Like, what specifically do you like about that coffee shop? Like, these little things really helped get the honesty from those relationships in the conversation. So I say like, there's no dumb questions, but sometimes we're not asking people the right questions.
I love that. And there
I
shows
do
like so
too.
much care, right? Like you have to care to ask that question and take it the further step. Like, well,
Yeah.
what kept you up? What couldn't you stop thinking about last night? I love that. Yeah, it'd be easy to be like, oh,
Absolutely.
damn, girl, I hope you get some rest later. Hope you take a nap,
Right.
you know?
Ah,
Yeah, it's like,
melatonin.
you hear it like we've been up like that. It's like, oh, I'm not having a good day. Well, I pray the rest of your day goes well. I mean, yeah,
Right,
that's good, but yes, and you know what I mean? I just want you're my friend. So I really want to get like what happened? Do you want to
right,
talk about it? And you can vent about it, you can curse. What do you need? What do you need right now? So I think like keeping it real really means like being open and ready for the realness, because if I'm entering a conversation I'm not ready for the realness, I'll just be like, okay, hope everything's good.
right.
Right.
Heard you. All right, so the
Definitely.
last thing we're going to do, Brittany, is turn to our conversation cards from our All Too Human series that are related to friendship. That, if you'll remember, we pulled them during the release. So I want you to pick a number between 1 and 100, and I'll give you the corresponding question.
I'm in angel numbers right now and I keep seeing 22, so I'm gonna go with that.
All
Ooh.
right, 22. Uh, how do you navigate friendships when life gets busy? Feels like so connected to our conversation.
Very connected.
Hmm. The angel
um
numbers, you know?
I know, right? I'm like universe. Okay. When life gets busy, I think have grace. I feel like we're always I'm noticing that our generation really does care and we really do want to find the best way to connect. So we're looking on Instagram, we're googling like what ways we can connect, where like all that stuff, and we really want to learn, but also you're human, things happen. It's okay that you fall off, it's okay that you feel disconnected, it's okay you feel that you can be doing more but you haven't been doing more. So when you're busy, and busy for many reasons, I think for me, I just be open and transparent with the people that I care about and let them know that it's not them, it's me. I don't want to say it like that. It's like it's not you, it's me. But like I am super swamped. I like to say this thing. It's like I'll reach out to you when I come up for air.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like in the moment of busyness, I feel drowned. So
Hmm.
Definitely.
I think people just appreciate that. You don't always have to know what to say or how to show up.
I've used that line many a
Absolutely.
time too, so I feel you.
Same.
I have. Yeah.
No, I feel you. It's just like I everybody is sure fighting battles that you have nothing about, but they're also like their attention is being pulled in a million different ways.
Yeah,
So it's like when we are together, we can give each other that gift of attention. But I think there grace has to be extended in adult friendships, because it's not, unfortunately we don't have the like, I can roll over in high school or in college and just walk over to your spot and we can kick it for 10 hours. So it's like, take these little bids where they come in, and I think they're so much more appreciated now that we're getting older.
right. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Brittany. this has been fantastic. I think that there are so many incredible nuggets, not only on craft, but on just friendship, navigating friendships in these weird digital times before we all have Apple Vision goggles and are. I think that you hit on so many points that listeners can take away and apply to their own lives.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for curating this. Honestly, I feel like of all the events of eventing, like having being a curator and understanding like how audience can engage in this way with the conversation cards, those ask the right questions, and I feel that it's a perfect example for people who are feeling antisocial or unsocial in need to socialize. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you be a
Brittany.
part of our community from now on and excited to see all that you do. I can't wait to see how this story takes form on the screen.
Yes.
We'll be looking out for it.
Sorry. It's gonna be cute.
Yes.
We're
I
very
know it will
excited.
be. Thanks again,
Thank you,
Brittany.
Brittany.